We welcome Cuba's decision to release a substantial number of prisoners whose cases were directly raised with the Cuban government by my team.
We don't know about any of the 53 dissidents that supposedly, political prisoners that were supposedly going to be released.
It's my understanding that not all of them have been released at this point, but as part of the agreement that was brokered, that this prisoner release that the Cuban government decided to undertake on their own in the context of these discussions would take place in stages.
In stages. The 53 political prisoners were said to be released, being released from Cuban jails as part of this deal, and that some already had been. That was the word when this whole shift in Cuban policy was announced by the president. But it's not clear that they have been or they will be.
Charles, is this shifting?
I mean, the conventional wisdom is that this is such a great deal if you read all the stories about it. Is it shifting?
No, it was hollow from the very beginning. There is no real care in this administration for human rights abroad. Obviously, they have no great interest in these prisoners. It was a throw-in at the end of the deal. They had none for the revolution in Iran in 2009. They have none for Russian dissidents who stand in the way of a deal with the Russians. Look, the reason that Josh Earnest was pretending that this is a humanitarian independent gesture on the part of the Castros is because we don't want to offend the Cubans into thinking it was somehow a deal. Well, why in God's name did we immediately release the 3 Cuban spies and not insist that there be an immediate release of the 53 Cubans? Why is it in stages? Here are people who are entirely innocent of a real crime other than opposing the regime and releasing real criminals. I think the worst part is what James Rosen reported. We're going to start negotiations in 2 weeks on normalization without insisting in advance that the prisoners are released. That's not a precondition. We're going to start and get absolutely nothing. It's impossible to believe the administration will be so weak and thoughtless in doing that. We will see. They got 2 weeks to produce. I hope they do, but I worry that they won't.
Quickly.
And this is